Yippee-Ki-Yay, Mother.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Welcome to another edition of Yippee-Ki-Yay, Mother Podcast. I'm Ralph Quartucci.
I'm Sean Paul Murphy.
I'm Debbie Murphy.
I'm Michelle Wojciechowski.
I'm Brad Barowie.
I'm John Quattruzzi.
Listen, I could use a quick 50. You got a commuter for me? Hey, it's Drew Gould. Hey.
Way to give away the game. I love it, everybody. Everybody have a good week?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, other than having to watch this movie.
Other than having to watch this movie. All right, John, what do you recommend from this week?
Well,
or not recommend. What did you watch this week?
I'm not going to bring up an Elvis movie.
Oh, thank goodness.
I happen to watch TCM had it was Buster Keaton's 125th birthday. So they showed the General, Steamboat Bill, and Seven Chances, I think it was. But the thing I'm going to recommend is Peter Bogdanovich as a documentary called The Great Buster. It is awesome. And the reason why I love Buster Keaton, I love the silent comedies and Charlie Chaplin, Harold Lloyd, but I think Buster Keaton is the best technical filmmaker out of them all. When you look at the stuff he did back then, it was innovative. It was like the General, especially. He was incredible, and he was his own special effect. That's a Leonard Maltin quote, but it is absolutely true. If you've never seen one of his movies, see one of those. Especially, I think I would recommend the General. But this documentary, if you're not into silent movies, you'll still like the documentary. So it goes over his entire catalog, but spends some time on. In the 1920s, he made 10 great films. They talk about those, but it's great.
Well, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Also, keep in mind that without the General, you probably wouldn't have Mad Max Fury Road. So we can thank.
That's
All roads lead
call.
back to Fury
That's
Road.
right.
I love that. Way to go. Wojo and Brad, your square is up.
We watched
The Devil All the Time.
The Devil All the Time on Netflix.
Recommended by
Ralph.
none other than
Yeah, Ralph recommended that last week.
Expected to hate. So we sat down early Saturday because I thought, well, if I'm going to hate a couple movies, I might as well screw up Saturday. And we both really like that movie.
Good.
I love even I don't want to. It's fairly new, so I don't want to spoil much, but just really, really well done. Liked it, and we kept saying, "How's it all going to come together? How's it all going to tie together?" And then when it did, we were like,
the connection.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty cool tie
But the
together.
Scarsdale guy,
Yeah.
he's really good. He's a good.
Yeah, he's a good actor. I didn't realize, he does
I'll screw up
Pennywise, so it
characters.
kind of takes it away, but he did a great job. They all did.
He was also in Castle Rock both seasons, and he was fantastic.
Well, that's what's his name?
Skarsgård.
Alexander Skarsgård. What is it?
This is
no,
Bill
it's
Skarsgård.
Bill
His
Skarsgård.
brother.
Oh, his brother.
Yeah. We also, then we watched the movie we're talking about now, and then we.
Only one per box.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, you'll hold that for next
Okay.
week. Sean and Debbie, your box is up.
Well, we went with what Wojo recommended, The Devil All the Time. She just
No.
recommended it now.
No,
So
Ralph recommended it.
Well,
But
we all doing that one? What's going on?
movie.
I
So
loved it only until the very end.
Yeah, she wanted
I
to
had to
tune out
think
until
about this film, but once I thought about this film, I loved this film because it was, so awful. The stuff that not that the film was awful. It's so many bad things.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, bad. And then to realize, well, the name of the movie, Devil All the Time.
Mhm.
time.
It was just crazy.
I can't
But
believe
Debbie,
two.
didn't I predict how it would end early on?
Don't tell me.
No,
Okay.
that's a three square recommendation for that film. That's
It was
crazy.
such a great film.
Wow.
Thank you,
Really
Ralph.
liked it.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, Drew, what do you
Really
got?
liked it.
Well, I have another public service announcement for. I will say the closest movie to an Elvis movie that I watch regularly is actually Mad Max Fury Road, starring Riley Keough. But that's his granddaughter. So I wanna tell you not to see a movie that's not going to surprise you that you shouldn't see it. But also, especially for some people on this podcast, it has way too many doorbells for dog owners. So that alone, very frustrating. Did you guys ever see that movie Lawnmower Man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever think, boy, I'd like to see that movie, but I wish it was so much dumber. That's what Replicas is, starring Keanu Reeves.
What is it?
Replicas.
Oh, Yeah, never heard of it.
It's not crazy enough, but it's also very stupid. Basically, he is a guy who loses his family in a car accident, so he can create clones and put their memories in them. And I just feel dumb talking about it. It would have been better if the original casting of the movie had been Nicolas Cage. Keanu Reeves produced it. He's behind the movie, and he ended up starring in it. But Nicolas Cage is sort of your go-to for Gonzo. And Keanu Reeves, Keanu Reeves isn't like it's not like he's terrible in it or anything. But the movie it's like a really crappy sci-fi movie from 2002, including the CGI and the plot and the just general sense of why did anyone make this movie? So I will say if
You are so funny.
make it to the end of the movie, there's a scene where a character is cloned. There's a second copy of the character, which reminded me of the TV show on Netflix, Altered Carbon.
Oh yeah,
Way better and not
season 1.
Season 1, yeah. Season 2 you can skip, and you can and still skip season 2. But I would say if the character that copied himself had actually been the 6-year-old daughter instead, the killer robot, it would have been a lot more fun. But they didn't go there, so I'm going to have to recommend that you all avoid Replicas, showing now on HBO, and I should have slept in that morning.
Now, do
I'm
you
not
want?
quite sure. When you ask recommendations, I guess I'm misinterpreting what you mean.
Well, when I pitched this idea originally, I said, what did you guys watch this week? Not what should you watch this week?
But are you going into these movies thinking you're going to hate them, or you think you're going to like them?
I think that I'm going to enjoy them. Antebellum, I thought it's from the people who made Get Out. It stars Janelle Monáe. It's probably really good, and it was just crap.
Oh, you loved that movie.
Oh, it was wonderful. and Replicas, I heard it was sort of like it was like a dumb, fun sci-fi movie, a Saturday morning movie, which is when I watched it, and it was mostly just dumb and not fun, and that's disappointing. But there, I just saved you 2 hours. I'll never get them back ever.
Well, 4 hours with the other movie.
Appreciate you
already.
dying on that hill for us. That's nice.
Well, I like that though. That's good. It's what you watch. It doesn't have to be what you recommend.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to recommend something I watched on Netflix, which is a remake of a movie from 1970. We know how much I love the movies, which is a film based on a play called The Boys in the Band.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I want to see that.
Now, I saw it was a play written in 1968 by Mark Crowley, and I think it was on Broadway as well recently. Anyway, William Friedkin did the original 1970 Boys in the Band. This was produced by Ryan Murphy, the new one on Netflix, and directed by a guy named Joe Montello. And I don't know if you guys saw the Hollywood miniseries that Ryan Murphy put out.
I know about it, but I didn't see
Well,
it.
he played the closeted guy who ran a studio. He's a great actor in that film. Well, he directed this as well. So it's got Jim Parsons, main guy, and Zachary Quinto. And it's the same movie as the 1970 movie, just redone for now. And actually, it takes place in 1968. They didn't update the time.
Oh, good, because I don't think it would necessarily play.
No, because it's all about, Jim Parsons plays the main guy called Michael, who's a self-loathing homosexual. And he's got a buddy who visits him from college who is trying to figure out if he's straight or gay, and how that guy interacts with 8 of his gay friends that have this party. It's just the 70s film is really well done. And this one is updated character-wise and some other stuff. And they have some flashbacks that they do that they didn't do in the Friedkin movie. But it's a well-done film. You guys should take a look at it. So I am recommending that one.
Yeah, I really wanted to see it. They use the same cast from Broadway.
That's right. And they're all openly gay actors.
I wanted to see it. Yeah.
All of them. And Zachary Quinto does a great job. And, he has the iconic role from the 1970 film. And he does a really nice job. So I highly recommend that one.
Awesome.
So enjoy. Well, today is my film, a 1971.
Which means it sucks.
1971 classic called Klute. Starring Jane Fonda, Donald Sutherland. Directed by Alan. How do you say his name? Alan
J. Palooka.
Alan J. Palooka, who turns out is a director that
I was
really love a
thinking
lot of his
that
films.
sounds like what a palooka.
So the story is it's Jane Fonda plays Bree. What's her name? Bree Daniels.
Daniel or Daniels, because it's Daniel in the credits. But
I think it's Daniels, but I'm not.
No, literally, it's both names in the movie, so I don't know what her name is.
And
Bree.
It works.
Yeah,
They
Donald
spent so
Sutherland.
much on the lighting that they couldn't.
Well, we'll talk about that. Donald Sutherland plays
You
John
can call
Klute.
her anything you want.
So it's a very slow detective film where you know who the killer is from practically the get-go. We'll just say that. Jane Fonda won an Oscar playing the hooker who gets caught up in this
Sex
conspiracy.
worker.
Call girl.
Call girl. Okay, sorry.
Escort.
She did have pimps at one point, so I think she was, I mean, you could call her a hooker, I guess. Like I said, directed by Alan J.
Good cop.
What's that?
Hooker's a good cop.
Hooker.
Don't you remember the
TJ?
show Hooker?
TJ
They didn't have a
Hooker.
hooker in it. Sorry, back.
I don't know what what are you talking about?
He's talking about
What are you
TJ
talking
Hooker.
All right. Anyway,
Boy, Simpsons are fun.
so
It's fun when we
19,
throw it out
obviously
from
I
the
love it.
beginning.
1971, lit by Gordon Willis, or barely lit by Gordon Willis, I should say. Roy Scheider shows up as a pimp. Gene Stapleton, Edith Bunker shows up as a receptionist. She was great.
Mr.
Um,
Fab.
Yeah. So anyway,
Mr. Goldfarb.
this obviously falls right in my wheelhouse of films that I love from the 70s. It's Palooka who does Pakula,
Cooler.
who also did All the President's Men. He also did the one we talked about last week with Warren Beatty. I can't think of the name of it right now.
Parallax View.
Parallax View, the other conspiracy film. And he's done a bunch of other ones. It's kind of the same theme. I understand. I know it's slow as I watched it. Okay, so the story goes, I saw this at a drive-in movie theater when I was 11 years old.
What was
And-
wrong with yours and Sean's parents?
Well, I think this might have been a double bill with Blazing
Wonka.
Saddles or Flesh.
Return
Eaters.
of
the
I
Love
can't
Bug.
remember.
Right.
And all I know is that scene in the hotel room where she has one of the commuter call that Drew referenced.
He needs a 50.
She needed a quick 50. By the way, the phone is a big character in this film as well. That phone's ringing off the hook all the time. That's how she gets her jobs. Anyway, so she meets this guy. She plays him up. And as she's having sex with him, A, she's faking her orgasm, and B, she looks at her watch while she's got the guy, while she's making whoopee with the guy. And that scene in the scene where she talks to her therapist, talking about how powerful she is and how she fakes her orgasms and all she cares about is controlling the man. I really think that did something in the back of my mind when I was 11 years old, because this movie's been in my head since then. And this is the first time I've seen it all the way through since that time.
That explains
And I still thought it was great. She looked fantastic. She won, like I said, she won the Oscar for this film. Yes, it's a slow burn. The two of them played off each other pretty well, although Donald Sutherland a bit lethargic and stoic and boring, I guess. He is from Pennsylvania, going to the big city. Like I said, it's a detective story, basically a thriller where you know who the killer is within probably 10 minutes of the movie. They don't hide any of that.
Mhm.
And I was in it through the end. I just thought it was just a terrific film. I'm gonna stop talking because I'm fascinated to hear what everybody else has to say.
We're going to get a trailer first for the audience.
I'll show the trailer.
I want
And
to see a
again,
preview instead.
I hope it's
the
just
trailer goes on forever, like
Ugh.
always. But it's good. We'll get a good. We'll be able to watch it. Get like we're watching it again.
Bree Daniels.
One man is missing. 2 girls lie dead, and somebody is on the other end of the phone. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid.
Who is it?
Bree Daniels. Can I come in?
Come in.
Bree Daniels, girl on the brink. Somewhere among her clientele is a freak who murders call girls.
Sit down.
And a wholly incredible cop who insists her life is worth saving.
I don't think he's going to come back again.
I just don't want to be alone right now.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid.
What else do you remember about the man who beat you up?
Nothing. Except that he wasn't kidding, that's all.
But you cannot identify this man as Tom Gruneman.
I can't identify him as anybody.
Give me your hand. There's someone on the roof.
Did you like my friend Frankie?
Not very much. Hey. Your tapes.
Golly gee, just what I've always wanted. Dirty phone calls. Is Mr. Goldfarb there? I've got to talk to somebody. I'm just a little way across town. Can I come over?
Detective Trask, please. Hi, John Klute. He didn't take the plane. He canceled out. Well, I think this man killed Jane McKenna and killed Arlen Page. I think he drowned them. I think you should prepare yourself for the fact that possibly Tom is dead. But the only way I'm going to find out is to find him.
All right, fine. I'll notify the board as soon as I get to Chicago.
Oh!
Hello?
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid.
All righty.
It just
Like
brought
I
me
said,
right back into the movie.
Classic. Now,
Yeah.
look, I understand it's slow. I understand
know.
all. I mean, I'm going to guess on a couple of the reviews, but I love the tape recorder opening that they do, the little tape thing they do. This is the same year, I think, or year before Conversation came out. All the paranoia involved. Super slow. We know who the killer is right away. I just think her chemistry, what she does, not her chemistry, because there really was no chemistry between those two, even though they told us there was. I think her scenes in the therapist room, which were all improvised, she did a great job. This put her on the map, the acting map, from all the frivolous stuff she was doing before this. And I just really love the film. So I'm going to let you guys talk because I can't wait. Sean.
Me?
Yes.
Well, I liked this film, but I liked it better when it was starring Liza Minnelli and Burt Reynolds as Rent-A-Cop.
Or the other one he did, he had the hooker with the heart of gold. What was that one? Sharky's Machine.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was a
Same
remake
thing.
of Laura. That was a remake of Laura.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I also like the other film they remade, it Stop, or My Mom the Whore Will Shoot You.
So are you saying you like this or didn't like
That sounds like an Al movie.
Yeah. No. Okay, I'm going to go against what people think. I like this movie. I only say what people think is because everyone watched it, so I know they hate it. But okay, let's just say as a mystery, it doesn't work because we know who did it from at least 20 minutes. I don't know how
that's
long.
what I said. 15 minutes in.
15 minutes in, we know who did it. And plus, who would want to kill Mr. Bean? Isn't that the guy who plays Mr. Bean?
No.
Okay,
He
sorry.
wasn't, but he looked a lot like
Looked a lot like him.
You mean the original guy from the dinner when they had the dinner scene? That guy?
Grumman, yeah. No, but let me be serious for a second. Yeah, I thought the film was very atmospheric.
Yeah.
And it had a great sense of doom and foreboding that it never really played off. But it was good. I don't know why it was called Klute. I mean, it seemed like, why would they name it after the detective? She has the arc,
Yeah.
I mean,
I thought that too.
They should have called it Bree,
The cheesiest film ever.
No, but I mean, I really liked, and having worked in the motion picture business at the time, it was very.
Hang on.
ding,
Oh,
ding, ding,
man.
ding.
Man.
I'm not a cinematographer, but I can tell you at that time with those film stocks to get that lighting, to get that darkness, and still, have a great exposed
Enough
image.
already. You want to go to sleep?
Well, this was his practice for The Godfather, right?
Yeah, I mean, this was he did a tremendous job.
This was the same cinematographer?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Prince of Darkness. And And you know, I like the score too. I think it's the same guy who did Dirty Harry, because that score was very similar. I meant to look that up.
Yeah, I don't think that is, but I can look that up too. But
Yeah, it had the
yeah.
you know, and
Well,
the tape-
Pakula was saying he didn't want any bass notes. He didn't want it to come off like something scary was going to happen, but that was still pretty.
Because nothing really did.
Okay.
I thought it was
I can't
very
deny it,
moody. It was very atmospheric. It had that sense of 70s paranoia that I enjoy so much. I thought she was fine. I think I'm going to be in the category that I liked Donald Sutherland more than most of the people in this film. You know, but I didn't necessarily buy him falling for her, other than maybe he's just one of these white knights that always has to try to save women, like I was in the 90s. You know, so
Does that can Debbie concur on that one?
Debbie
I didn't mean
Well,
it until the 2000s.
I got to tell you about this film. It seemed to me that it was very, you know, not shot well with the lighting. I couldn't see it very much, and it
Okay.
tended to make it was like you said, it was dragging. It in that sense, it was very axiomatic.
Did she use that right?
I in there, and I did use the form correctly, right?
I don't know.
I don't know, but it was all the time dark all the
I
time,
forgot already
and
what it
just
means. So.
boring all the time. I mean, it was like to me, it was just. I was not interested in the subject. I didn't find Bree very interesting, you know, as a person,
God.
as
Really?
a character. And the only thing I did like is her dress, and how Donald Sutherland was so slender. The two of them made a nice pair.
They actually dated after this.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Non-exclusively, whatever that means, but that's the 70s, so.
They looked fabulous together.
You know,
He was her date at the Oscars.
Yeah.
now, Debbie, you weren't shocked by this women faking orgasms thing, were you, like Ralph?
I didn't say I was shocked. It gave me some information I never knew at 11 years old. I know that now. I mean, come on, it's obvious. I fake mine now. It's easy.
You know, Debbie, it's interesting. I didn't know how Debbie. We really did. I really discuss it much, but I tried to get her to tell me what she thought of the movie while we were watching. Every time I woke her up, I'd say, "What do you think?"
No, come on. Yeah, I mean, you can't
Yeah,
watch this.
Who
I-
does that sound like?
And I heard your
Stayed up
voice.
for this
Yeah.
whole movie.
I know.
And you know, I remember you said, Ralph, that you didn't want Wojo to fall asleep during the movie, but I did not off. I mean, I was just not interested in the characters or the subject matter.
Yeah.
You know,
We watched it more in the evening too.
Yeah, I'm sure
I
there's a lot of
watched it.
dropping lid on this one, just
Yeah.
based on the pace of the film. Well, having said that, Wojo, Brad.
You're not going to believe this.
Uh-oh.
I didn't hate this movie as much as I thought I would.
Well, I guess that's good.
This is a
So
ring
for example,
endorsement.
I was following along. I was saying to Brad in the beginning, I didn't think it dragged until the last 20 minutes. Then I went to slip my wrist because I was like, time has stopped and this movie is never going to end. But I was more interested in this. I found that I had an interest in the character developments and what was going to happen as opposed to the hospital. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is I was concerned last week that, oh my God, I'm going to hate every movie ever put out in 1971. So not quite loathe and hate, you know, but I didn't completely despise it. But like I said, the end of it, the last 20 minutes just dragged.
Well, that exposition scene, or that scene he does at the end, she does with the killer guy, did go on for a while. And yeah, okay. I that's fair. Brad?
I mean, I don't think I enjoyed it as much as she did.
He didn't. Believe this? Like, what the hell?
You didn't like that full back nudity?
Well, that was the best part of the movie.
Just
but,
ignore Sean.
It was just, I don't know. Sometimes these 70s, early 70s, I just have a hard time getting interested in the characters and the story. I mean, I don't know. It's just very, well, like you said, it is very slow moving. I don't know. It just,
Out of
it
all the
just doesn't
70s
grab me.
movies you and Sean have made us watch, would be the one that I liked.
You didn't like the taking of the pellet?
Liked
You
it.
haven't.
He wasn't here with that.
All right. Have you ever seen The Godfather,
Early
Wojo?
70s. Yeah, I saw The Godfather. I like that.
Okay. That's 72. So it's not just 71. I mean, 70. Okay, John. Can't wait for this.
Before I give you my opinion on this movie, I just want to remind people to please subscribe and get like and share. And as you can see, we're also a audio podcast, so you can find us on many streaming services. So please take advantage. Now,
nice job.
Now that I've said that.
Having said that,
Beautiful.
Here's the deal with me. I like going to the movies as escapism. I like to be entertained. And this was just like The Hospital. It's grimy. It's low lit. It's shot through fences and cracks. The people are not the greatest people in the world. It's just a depressing movie that is not my cup of tea. I don't want to go to a movie to be depressed. Now, I thought Jane Fonda, in fact, I just recently watched Cat Ballou that she was in. To see her in that role, I thought she was great. I thought Donald Sutherland, I thought Leonard Nimoy did it better on Star Trek than he did it in this movie. Because every line had the same tone.
Yeah.
Take my hand. There's someone on the roof. Everything.
Yes, I'll take one of
his
those
delivery
calories.
was just awful to me. She
Strong
was the
silent
best thing in
type.
it. And I'll tell you, the guy at the end, the killer, George, what's his name? Carlos or something like that.
no.
That scene at the end, I actually liked him a lot in it because he was just so matter of fact and then just pounced on her. I actually liked that. But the movie itself is like, I would never watch this movie again. I've never seen it before. I've only seen scenes from it. I would never watch this again. It's just too bleak for me. And there's certain movies from the 70s, not all. I'm not an anti-70s person, but the movies that have that particular feel and look, I just don't like it. It's too bleak for me, and that's not what I want from the movies that I watch. So it's hard for me to just say, oh, yeah, it was a good thriller, because it wasn't even a good thriller. The performance was great, but that's how I feel about that movie.
The guy's name is Charlie Ciaffi.
Okay, that was his first movie, I think.
Maybe.
And then he did something right after it. There was, what the hell did he do next? Something big.
Yeah.
But it was just, I mean, Donald Sutherland. Everything was doe-eyed and everything.
Well, I mean, he does that in a lot of his. We were
I've
talking
never
earlier about the Body Snatchers. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. He's kind of, he plays that sometimes.
Yeah.
Wojo.
He gives more character to the orange juice. What?
I hear you do an impersonation of Donald Sutherland.
Would that give away the end of that movie? That movie's been out since '78, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you do your Donald Sutherland at the end of Invasion of the Body Snatchers? John, why don't you play the woman who walks up to Donald?
Which one?
Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1978.
What? I don't remember the last line. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I don't forget. She just walks up, and I forget she sees
says,
him in the
"Thank you."
courtyard.
Oh, you're okay. You're all right. Oh, God. And he turns around and goes,
Okay. But that's more emotion than he showed in that entire movie. Okay.
I don't know. He beat the crap out of Roy Scheider.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened in that scene. Did Roy die or?
He looked like
I just
Buster
want to say
Keaton.
one thing. I know we got to get to Drew, but I don't know if Donald Sutherland could beat up Roy Scheider.
No, I don't think so.
no.
Well, Roy Scheider played kind of a fancy boy in this one. Fancy boy pimp. You know what I mean? So maybe. He could have taken him. John Klute was from Pennsylvania. No, that's a Gordon Willis. That looks good.
DJ.
Was that only 2 camera angles? 3. You got 3 now? Always got to one-up me. Drew, let's hear your take on this film.
You guys mentioned the composer, Michael Small. And so I said, that name sounds familiar. And so I looked up his credits, and he's done an awful lot of movies that I really like Parallax View, Marathon Man, Pumping.
Oh, that's right.
Firstborn, Star Chamber, excuse me, Target. And of course, I know we're not allowed to talk about it on this podcast, but he did do the score for Jaws, The Revenge.
Oh, God.
He must have needed some money or something.
Yeah, that would be
Mountains of the Moon, which I really wanted to be good and wasn't. And he did Wagons East, which is sad because goodbye, John
Candy.
So here's the thing about this movie. It's not a good thriller, which is weird.
No, it's not.
If you look at the director's credits, I mean, the next movies that he did, Parallax View is a great thriller. All the President's Men is a great thriller. I haven't seen it in many years, but I remember Presumed Innocent being a really good.
Oh, that was good.
Oh, that was really good. Yeah.
That was really good.
I did not see the ending of that movie coming, and it was really well done.
He also did Consenting Adults. Did you see that with Kevin Spacey and Kevin Kline?
He did Consenting Adults, and he did Sophie's Choice.
Right.
Pretty melodramatic. And the thing about this movie is that it's not a good thriller. Not only because of what you said, like we know who did it in the beginning of the movie. I didn't find the atmospheric part of it particularly effective as far as the mood that it built and stuff. And John, this one's for you. The therapy is amazing in this movie. Really amazing. Because the way that he uses the therapy in the movie, it gives you so much insight into Jane Fonda's character and how she's not a cartoonish Hollywood hooker, heart of gold, all that nonsense. She's a real person, and she's doing what you need to do to be successful in therapy and to work on things in yourself, which is to look at yourself honestly, to say, I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't understand it. I may not like it. And then but you're honest and you go forward from there. And the way that she played those scenes, I mean, that's the Oscar right there, because it's so real and it's so well done. And, you hear like, oh, she ad-libbed this. I don't know how much of that was ad-libbed versus how much of that was scripted, because everything in these movies of this era sounds off the cuff. And so that's just a very naturalistic way of writing. And I'm not saying it's good or bad either way, but Jane Fonda clearly, she put in the work on this character. And she cared a lot about this character, and she knows things about this character that don't come up in the movie, all those kinds of preparation. And I think that, I guess she gave the shortest Oscar speech ever or something, which was basically, thank you very much. There's lots of things to say, but I'm not going to say them right now, which is what she said her father told her to say. The other thing is, Jane Fonda she's a really incredible actress and person, and she's beautiful, and she's coming out of Barbarella and all that crap that she did with Roger Vadim. And she was talking about, she was just on Howard Stern, I guess, last week, 2 weeks ago, promoting her new book. And she talked about how in that time when she was doing Barbarella, she was doing Roger Vadim's bidding, basically, that there was nothing to her. There was nothing to Jane Fonda. She just did what she thought other people wanted her to do, and she would do whatever she could do to please them, as far as what she did, what she said sexually. If Roger Vadim said, I need you to be with these two women at the same time, I need you to be in this movie, and it doesn't matter, she did it.
What movie was that?
No, in their private life.
Okay, because I didn't see that one.
I'm sure there are movies, John, and that will be on our next Guilty Pleasure episode.
That's the Patreon. Go to Patreon to get those.
But
John's on with Patreon.
OnlyFans. But I think Jane Fonda deserves to be taken seriously as an actress, and this movie shows you that that's when it happened. Because it's not. I don't hate the movie. I don't love the movie. I think the way that it uses the tape recordings and stuff is kind of interesting. It's less interesting if you've seen the conversation, but that's not a knock. It's not a knock on Klute, because the whole thing. I mean, I hate voiceovers in movies unless they're done cleverly, and this is a clever way to give you information about the characters and what they're doing and what they're thinking and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But, as a thriller, it's not satisfying. You know who the bad guy is, and then at the end, he throws himself out a window.
Yeah.
And then,
a little background on therapy scenes. I'm sure everyone did the research on it, but the therapist was originally a male, and Fonda said it didn't work. She felt like her character wouldn't open up to a male therapist, so they brought in a woman, and then they shot all the therapist scenes at the end because Fonda felt I'd have a better handle on my character to be able to improvise. And the director said the mistake he made was he didn't put the camera on the therapist; he only had it on Jane Fonda. And he wishes he had it on the therapist because her reactions to what she was saying was really powerful, and he regrets not doing that. But I think that's interesting. I think it probably made, to your point, it probably made the therapy sessions even better because she was much more in touch with her character than she would have been had they filmed it earlier or out of sequence. You know what I mean? Right. So that's kind of interesting too.
You can tell. I mean, it also in that same research, she didn't think she was pretty enough to do the role. That no man would be attracted to her. So I think she brought a whole level of psychosis or whatever it is to this part that she stayed with hookers and pimps. She hung out with them for about a week. That apartment she lived in that apartment, even though it was a set that was built. So she immersed herself in this thing. And, you know, obviously she won the Oscar, so her hard work paid off. And again, for me, the movie's about her. I mean, Donald Sutherland, fine.
Yeah,
but
I don't get why it was called Klute either.
Well, I'm sure it's based on a book or something. Who knows?
I thought it was.
No, it's an original script.
It is, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just couldn't take my eyes off her. And as an 11-year-old kid, imagine that impression. You know, and that's
I think when they saw the final cut, they said, "Wow, Donald Sutherland is so dynamic in this. We should
we should give him a gig in 50 years doing orange juice commercial."
I don't know. Listen. He was highly regarded in this film. It's funny. I didn't. You know, they had chemistry supposedly. I mean, they really pulled it off.
I didn't feel that at all.
Wow.
I didn't see chemistry with
because it wasn't happy. I know.
That's what it was.
Singing in the rain.
With me,
now, if Donald Sutherland said Moses supposes, I would have loved.
Yeah, somebody came in with a vest on and goes, "Hey, what's going on here? Let's sing and dance and spin around." Yeah,
Donald Sutherland played it like a Western, like the man with no.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Strong, silent type.
One note the whole time.
He's not what the movie's about.
Yeah,
that's an archetype of hero across a lot of different films. Like one example I can think of a character that is. He's the title character, but he's not really what the stories are about.
Mad Max?
The films about Mad Max that that Western template. And so, in a way, to me, it almost felt like it's called Klute because it's the era, and he's the movie star that's the lead. Except they forgot that when they were making the movie, that the real star was Jane Fonda. I mean, he didn't get nominated. I don't think he's bad. I mean,
no, again, she wasn't the big star. You know, you're looking at this now like she's a big star. She wasn't then.
That's what I'm saying. She is a breakout in this movie.
Right. And also, wasn't she coming off her Vietnam protesting stuff?
Yeah.
Was that before this, right?
Yes.
So she had a lot of people who didn't want to see any Jane Fonda movie. Still don't. There are people who still don't want to, you know.
And her hair was very similar when they were calling her Jane.
Yeah. God, I loved her hair. Her hair was terrific in this.
Shag.
Debbie, didn't you have hair like that?
Yeah, I had hair like that, but
you had the bob.
This was actually before.
Yeah, I had the shaggy.
The shag.
I'm sorry, Drew. What? This was what?
Before she went to Vietnam. She went to Vietnam in 1972, I think. She was already protesting against the war, but I don't think she actually.
Okay, I was wondering about that. So she went after this film.
Yeah. Yeah, she traveled to Hanoi. I'm looking on a Washington Post article, and it says she traveled to Hanoi in 1972.
Okay.
She was already seen as an anti-war activist, and people
so she had been protesting. And again, she was she was uncharted, untested, frivolous. So Donald Sutherland's a known actor. That's probably why they made that decision.
Who was she up against for the Oscar? Do we know?
That wasn't my research I had to do. I'm sorry. I guess.
Can I say something?
Of course.
Of course.
Well, okay. I'm thinking about another movie that dealt with this subject matter was Pretty Woman. Pretty Woman with Richard Gere and Julia Roberts, right?
You mean there was a hooker in that one too?
Yeah, but here's the thing. You're not gonna. I'm gonna say something's gonna blow your mind.
I don't believe it.
Yes, this is so crazy. When the movie guide people. They banned all those people banned Pretty Women, the movie Pretty Woman. And because they claimed all these girls in California were becoming prostitutes because they wanted to be like Julia Roberts. They thought, and it's just not.
And when they got their butts kicked and got arrested, they were like, this isn't like the movie.
Exactly. And that's why in Hollywood, Pretty Woman was given a bad rating and everybody said, don't buy that film.
I don't think anybody watched Klute thinking they wanted to become a call girl after seeing this film.
You know what? It was real. Klute, and that's one good thing about it is showed the real the real horror that
her friend died. The woman who drowned was a heroin addict, some kind of addict.
I don't think the movie's that simple. I mean, Jane Fonda is using sex work as something that she wants to do, that she wants to explore. The movie doesn't say she's bad or dirty because of it. The movie doesn't say she's pure in some way, and
she made no judgment at all.
Very much. She was an actress, and
that's what I'm just going to say. Yeah. the skills she was trying to get as an actress
Yeah, she
was
was
working
great.
when she's with men. Everything she's acting that whole time.
Yeah.
And she can't. You saw she didn't get one job out of all her acting gigs that
You
she
saw
was.
that audition where they walk down the row of women. They might as well just be sides of beef.
Right.
Okay, this one has big hands. This one isn't the right look. This one, oh, she's great. Oh, she had another job. Why did they send her? Everybody goodbye. I mean, that's
and
everything.
By the way, here's who she was up against: Julie Christie and McCabe and Mrs. Miller, Glenda Jackson, Sunday Bloody Sunday, Vanessa Redgraves, Mary Queen of Scots, Janet Sussman, Nicholas and Alexandra.
Jeez.
You know, I will say that this is probably the right winner of that group.
I do too.
And this is the year that Gene Hackman beat George C. Scott for A French Connection over The Hospital. So this, everything's been building up to this podcast run.
And he also beat Walter Matthau as Koch,
right?
Which sounds like Klute. It has most of the same letters. It's one word.
I missed that one.
No, this was I would say she was probably deserved it on this one.
Oh, come on. She was great. I mean, she was
great.
And if she did, I understand a lot of it was script, but if she improvised those scenes, and like you said, the way the director used it to bridge information, to cross over and go from the therapy session to some scene you were watching, and it explained her whole motivation. All her motivation was laid out there.
It's funny, though, you look at the awards, Julie Christie was also a prostitute in McCabe and Mrs. Miller. She was a madame, but still. You know, Hollywood loves actresses who play prostitutes. Elizabeth Taylor won for Butterfield 8. You know, didn't Elizabeth Shue win for Leaving Las Vegas?
Yeah.
Well,
she was nominated.
She was nominated. I don't know if she won.
The hooker with the heart of gold, isn't that a trope? And this was not a hooker with a heart of gold or a call girl with a heart of gold.
Well, and Elizabeth Shue wasn't either in that movie.
What do you mean? She saved Nicolas Cage, didn't she? Or kept him alive for 2 days or something?
For 2 days.
2 days.
Right.
She helped him to kill himself. That's for
well, but she was there for him.
I mean, she was comforting to him. Yes.
Yeah, she didn't win. She was nominated, but she didn't win.
Okay.
Cage did win for that.
But also, you could say, what's her name? Who played the serial killer? What's her name?
Charlize Theron.
Yeah, Sharon. Yeah,
from Military Road.
You know, she won the Oscar
Monster.
for Monster. Also a prostitute.
And Eve Plum was a Portrait of a Teenage Prostitute. I mean, that was huge.
Classic. That's right.
Now that is a film I can get behind.
Yeah,
Trading Places with
Jamie Lee Curtis. That's good. Good pull on that one. Yeah,
Trading
she was
Places.
a prostitute in Trading Places.
Oh,
Mm.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Right. So, should we put a moratorium on films from 1971 for a couple weeks?
Well,
Please.
a couple weeks.
Okay, before we go on, let's have the ratings. Let's go.
They did make upbeat movies in the
John,
early
what's your
70s.
rating?
Me?
Yes.
I rate this one. Yippee-Ki-Yay.
Okay.
I'm sorry, that's my Donald Sutherland. Sorry.
That was good. Sean, Debbie.
Yippee-Ki-Yay.
I'm going to say Yippee-Ki-Yay, if only for the. I felt
Nobody uses the thumb up, thumb down.
I did. I was
I
on
used it. Debbie's hand was out of sight.
Yippee-Ki-Yay.
Nice. Is that a landline? Is that an actual landline you have there?
It's not hooked up.
Okay.
Mine is.
My wife walked
It's
past
a work phone.
walked past the screen and said, "Oh, we have that phone." I said,
That is that color of that phone that everybody had in that movie. It's great.
That's the one.
All right. Wojo and Brad.
I do Yippee-Ki-Meh.
Huh.
Nay.
Meh.
Look at that.
Like,
Wojo,
will
I'm
watch
actually surprised. I'm
I would
surprised.
never watch this movie again.
Well, I can understand that.
I guess it was just because it didn't make me want to vomit or go to sleep. I stayed up through it, so that was a benefit.
That's how we do it now, huh? Vomit or go to sleep. That's going to be it. I believe that
That's your
rating
options.
system. That's a tough rating system. I'm going to say Yippee-Ki-Yay with the understanding was, I know it's not, that this is a slow burn. It's not even a burn. Slow movie. We know who the killer is right from the get-go. I didn't mind Donald Sutherland's performance. I kind of like him. But it's all, for me, it's all about Jane Fonda and her performance and her look, the way how powerful. I mean, she was definitely had some issues. She admitted that she's insecure, all this stuff. But she knew what she had to do. She knew who she was. She was gorgeous doing it. She didn't think she was pretty enough to play this part. She was asking them to let Faye Dunaway do it, which was surprising. And I think she just pulled it off. So, and again, as an 11-year-old boy, it's indelible. It's in there.
Ralph, when we do our next Q podcast, can we delve into how this movie has impacted your entire life since you saw it at 11?
That's why I don't.
Obviously, something's going on.
I don't date women with watches. So I have a rule. So I don't mind if they fake an orgasm. I don't want the watch. If they're faking the orgasm, at least I feel like I'm doing something. So.
Oh my God.
Just saying.
We can
trying to be truthful here.
We can edit that out, right?
Nope, that's staying in.
You know, I liked this movie better the last time I saw it, but I did really like the look of it, I gotta say.
Yeah, the look,
See,
I don't understand.
I don't mind, like John said he hates when they shoot through cracks and they shoot. I kind of like that.
Too much of it.
It's called art.
Too much of it.
I just, when I was taking.
Depends on how it's done.
I took a lot of photography classes, but that was like after I was out of Loyola, and I took them at community college. And I just loved seeing things from different angles. I liked, and see, John, this is what I see. Exactly. I'm surprised because you like Citizen Kane so much. And that was shot at so many.
John is hamming it up.
You're not comparing this to Citizen Kane, right?
No. I haven't lost my mind.
Okay.
But just how different angles were used and how that, what's that movie? RKO
128.
128, right.
281.
281, something like that. Whatever.
A number.
How that shows how that, they cut holes in the floor to have the cameras down to always be looking up at him.
I know, but you're talking about someone who did it really for the first time versus this whole 70s look. It all looks the same to me, the way they shoot it. It's stark, it's grimy.
Dingy,
Yeah,
I just don't like it. That's not.
It's realistic. It's adult.
Whatever. I mean, I can see that. You look out
Let's
your door.
see.
You're
What's the difference in your ages?
Ralph.
It's thoughtful. What?
Ralph, John,
it's
what's the
thoughtful.
difference in your ages?
We're 2 years apart.
Huh.
Yeah,
I've
but
never
John grew up loving comic books. I mean, loving comic books. Okay. I didn't, I was never into it like he was.
He was in the penthouse.
I look at the 30s and 40s like Ralph looks at the 70s.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
So I could watch those movies all day. I love and he doesn't like them because it's not realistic. It's not. But I don't know. It's just for me, like, especially now, there's so much awful stuff going on.
Oh, I know.
It's like, I don't want to watch depressing movies. I'm inundated by that.
You're depressed by her growing and winning that thing, and the bad guy gets it in the end. Jumps out the window.
That's
not depressing.
I went outside and sang Moses
She's
Supposes.
living in Pittsburgh. She's living in Pennsylvania now with Donald Sutherland, picking fruit all the time. They're having a great life.
It's just depressing. I just found it depressing.
I'm sorry,
I found
what?
The hospital depressing. I love the performances. I thought she was fantastic. But again, I would never watch this movie again.
That's fine. Neither would I. I don't think I'll watch it.
You wouldn't.
Again
You
for
saw it
another-
at 11. It indelibly is etched in your brain.
It really is.
And
but
on
talking about
DVD.
what scene's etched in your brain at 11 years old? She's looking at her watch while she's having sex. That's what's etched in your brain. Out of everything that happened in this movie, the thing that happens in the first 5 minutes is the thing that has colored everything you've done for the rest of your life.
you have to hook them early.
It's a
Probably
very
the same thing when you saw the rolling ball on Indiana Jones. Same thing. I'm sure that left an impression on you somehow.
But that
Yes,
was an
as
impression.
an
on
11-year-old,
Ron. That's a memorable
Hey,
fight.
What did Steve say on the podcast when he was watching? What was he watching? Where the scene that we mentioned in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, where the Sundance puts the gun. Steve said, "Yeah, that one I remember. I remember being an 11-year-old and getting a little tingle down there because she's pulling the shirt
What
off."
the hell is wrong with you?
It's called being at a drive-in at 11 years old.
I just want you guys all to know that when you see the Cute Brothers podcast, the only ones who are talking like that are the other two, not me.
Yeah, I know. Because you have it's all too.
I went put the gun and took away the shirt. Looks like he was going to rape her. That was so awesome.
Even your. I didn't say that. I didn't
No,
say
but
it.
you're saying that's what was indelible.
God, John, were you an 11-year-old boy discovering?
Yeah. You know when Willy Wonka walked down the path and did his flip and then came up? That was indelible in my mind. I went,
That
wow.
says a lot.
Not
Says a lot.
I'm like, prostitutes.
You just said it. You just said it.
That's
That's
comic books and watching the Super Friends,
Right.
and you're watching some prostitute looking at her watch.
don't make fun. That's up there. That's in there.
We should be recording this. This is classic stuff right here.
We are recording it.
Drew,
This is for
If anyone knows
Patreon.
anything about therapy, it's you, right?
What?
Like, that's therapy. That guy needs therapy. You listening to this?
I think everybody
my God.
needs therapy, John.
Yeah, but I mean,
Johnny,
he really needs it, Drew.
These are family secrets.
No, they're not. No, they're not. I'm pretty honest
After
about
the
it.
podcast.
Oh my gosh, I feel sorry for you, Ralph.
I Dream of Jeannie. Who was Steve's dream girl?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Barbara Eden.
Barbara Eden. Come on. I mean, geez. I mean, why wouldn't that be in there?
I'm not saying it shouldn't, but
Okay.
I always liked Lauren Bacall, but she's a little old. For me.
Lauren Bacall.
He's cute too.
That movie,
Put us together and blow.
The Big Sleep with Bogart, where it's so incredibly, ridiculously sexy, and it's
Totally. And it's the way they smoke cigarettes in that film. Jesus.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
By the way, I want to clarify something. I don't mind black and white films. I don't like old black and white films. I'm like what John's talking about. Like I realized
Klute was practically black and white.
it was. I realized because I have The
Mostly
Killing. I
black.
was looking at The Killing. That's a black and white Kubrick film, which I just love.
It's a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
Especially
So
the ending. Oh my God.
What movie?
Killing.
The Killing.
Killing. Didn't see that either.
Oh, it's spectacular.
Sterling Hayden.
It's early like Quentin Tarantino messing with time and awesome. It's really well done. But yeah, of course, as an 11-year-old boy, this is going to be in there.
I want to
And-
know who took you to see Klute at 11.
You know, we went to that drive-in all the time. Like I said, probably.
How was John not there?
Please.
He was reading comic books.
Yeah, he was
The McClankies took you, right?
the McClankleys
The
the Irish McClankleys. We went to the drive-in all the time. All the time.
We did. But we saw Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
No, I didn't. That's why I listen.
And then
I'm
Deep
telling you.
Throat.
That's why.
The child catcher.
That's where I saw
Child
Blazing
catcher in that movie was
Saddles.
terrifying.
Blazing Saddles.
Bang Bang is a
Obviously,
scary
Klute.
fucking movie.
Cinderella, followed by
Flash-
Caligula.
Flash Gordon.
Well,
Definitely
that's
saw
when we
Flash
were
Gordon
older.
there.
That was an 11-year-old.
Ralph. The film that had the effect on me that Klute had on you was Vanishing Point, if you saw that one.
I
Oh,
did
with
see it, but what's
Barry
the,
Newman.
what's
with
the-
Barry Newman.
What's the scene in there that got to you?
Well, this girl, it's like a race. It's a movie, a guy racing across the desert trying to
Right.
evade the police. He stops somewhere and some girl rides up on a motorcycle topless.
Yeah.
And that was one where the parents looked back. I remember that, and I had to duck down a little
Right.
more. My mother looked into the back seat on that shot came
Yeah.
up, I tell you. I'd have to see that movie again. That's the only scene I remember.
The 70s were a lot freer back. We were a lot freer back then. I mean, where was mom and dad if I'm at the drive-in 11? They let me go.
They're working on the boiler.
Did you drive? Did you drive yourself there?
No, that's what I'm trying to figure out how I got there.
The
Honestly.
McClarkies.
You
The
got enough
McClaskeys.
book with some older friends.
McClaskies.
The McCluskeys.
So
Well, I've been damaged in a way. I read at 12. I was 12 years old, and my uncle was living upstairs. He was a college student at the time.
Uh-oh.
where's this
He had a
going?
book. He had this book, and it was the story of O.
Nice.
And I read it, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is so disgusting."
I mean,
Turn the
wonderful.
next page. Oh my God, this is terrible. Turn the next page. Read it all the way through. I think in 1, 2, or 3.
And it's had an influence, hasn't it?
It has in a good way.
For me, that was The Joy of Sex with the original pencil sketches.
Yeah.
The original one that was at the house of the kids I was babysitting for. So I put
Oh my God, that's always there.
Oh, what is this? This is a very good book. Very, very good.
When you babysit, you find all the their dad's porn.
Yeah.
My mother can't get
Patreon.
over how open I am about things.
Hey, Straw Dogs was also released in 1971.
That's
That's a fun one.
Have you guys seen Straw Dogs?
Another
No.
upbeat Dustin Hoffman.
I
movie.
may have to drop the moratorium on 71 films. Thank you, Sean. for
Well,
reminding me.
luckily,
Also, it's
It
rated.
We haven't
takes a
even
while
started
till
the
we get around.
moratorium yet. What are you
Right, that's true.
dropping it? We haven't even started.
All right. Well, now that we've now I've cleared my palate from Singing in the Rain with two pretty dark films.
That
Next
was the
week
best
is
of the last three.
next week we're going to throw it at Drew. Drew, what do you got for us for next week?
We're going to do a little change of pace as far as atmosphere. and amount of sexual violence. And we're going to go with Be Kind, Rewind, starring Jack Black and Mos Def.
Mos Def, that's who
It's a wonderful, joyful movie about movies without actually being about Hollywood directly. I have not seen it in a long time. So I'm looking forward to
we haven't seen it.
how my reaction to it is. I don't think it'll be a full-on Spitfire Grill type of situation, but I think it will be a really nice, lovely movie that I will smile about for quite a while. And Michel Gondry, the director, is a really interesting guy who's done another one of my favorite movies, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which is a beautiful and funny and more serious movie, but with a similar sort of tone and feel. So Be Kind, Rewind for next week, everybody.
And should we all look and see if we can find it on VHS?
We'll talk more about the best way to watch
It's up
it.
to you, right?
And we talk about if you can find a Swedish version of it.
All right, and in 2 weeks, we're going to try something for Halloween, which we're each going to talk about what do you call it, Sean?
Guilty pleasure.
Guilty
pleasure.
Guilty horror movie pleasure, right?
It won't be the typical best horror movies you've ever seen.
Right.
It'll be something that
Bring something quirky, and
So
we'll take a.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring Klute because this is
Okay,
a movie.
so that was good. I appreciate everybody's truthfulness and honesty on that one. I think it went well, and look forward to next week with.
I think it explains a lot too, guys. Don't you think about Ralph? I really do think it explains a lot. We'll
Concerned that I didn't despise it. Like, I'm wondering if I fell on my head or.
Well, Wojo, let's be clear.
Bad
You said at
food
least
or-
I didn't vomit. I think.
Yes.
Wojo,
maybe-
one for the posters. You know what I
I
mean?
didn't get sick.
Maybe
and I
some of
stayed awake.
That's
some
right.
of this stuff is sinking in a little bit. Maybe
No.
it's seeping in, and we're expanding
Oh,
our
don't
horizons.
get your hopes up, honey.
Okay, maybe you just keep throwing up.
You gotta lighten up.
That's
a little
fine.
bit.
So there we go. All right, guys. Till next week. Everybody stay safe,
Okay.
and we'll see everybody next week.
See ya.
Bye.